Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi Shari Sabri Vayassari Amri Walu Uqdatam min Lisani Yafqahu Qawli Rabbi Zidni Ilma. How is everyone, children? Hope that everyone is well. Enjoying your learning, well prepared for the papers. Okay, today we are going to discuss one more paper, the most recent one, 0478, that is the IGCSE, but we are going to do it for our practice. This is paper 2, February, March 2024. The paper name is Algorithms, Programming and Logic. It's 1 hour 45 minutes duration. You have to answer on the question paper. No additional material is needed. You have to attempt all the questions. You need to use a black or a dark blue pen. You may use HB pencil for line diagrams, which you need to draw. You have to write your name, center number, and candidate number in the boxes at the top of the page. Write your name to write your answer to each question in the given space. Do not use an erasable pen or correction fluid at all. Do not even carry it. Do not write on any barcodes. Calculators must not be used in the paper. Please remember, do not carry the calculator at all. The paper is of 75 marks. The number of marks are given at the end of each question or each part question in brackets. There will be no mark awarded if you are using the brand name for software packages or any piece of hardware. So please be very cautious regarding these instructions. Now let's move on to the first question. Question number 1. Tick one box to show which task is part of the analysis stage of the program lifecycle. The thing that you have studied with respect to PDLC, Program Development Lifecycle. In this analysis stage, out of these, which one is included in analysis stage? Coding? Definitely not. Decomposition, design, and testing. So out of these, we are here it is done for you. We have just started the discussion. But remember, this is how we actually find out that which is the most appropriate answer, because definitely coding is not the right option. Design is definitely not, because that is also one of the stages of the program development lifecycle. Testing is also not included, so it means decomposition is the right answer. By the way, I hope that we all remember decomposition. Yes, breaking down the main task into subtasks which become more manageable. That's wonderful. Question number 2. So if you have ticked the right option, you have recalled the whole stages, then you will be able to gain 1 mark. Isn't it easy? Now, question number 2. 4 test data types and 5 descriptions are shown. Draw one line to link each test data type to its most appropriate description. Now here you can see abnormal, boundary, extreme, and normal. By the way, which one is the easiest one? Normal. So you can see a value that is accepted is the right option. That's done. Second one is extreme, that a value that is the highest or the lowest value to be accepted. Now again, remember, extreme means the highest acceptable value and the lowest acceptable value. That is your extreme value. Now abnormal, a value that is rejected. Now out of these 4, these 3 are very easy ones. So we have just done the easiest ones, and now we are left with boundary. And then you can see a value that is the highest or lowest value to be accepted, and the corresponding lowest or highest value to be rejected. Now just remember, boundary is always a set. So in this case, the option that you can see here, a value that is the highest or lowest value to be accepted, and the corresponding lowest or highest to be rejected. That is the right option. In this manner, you can easily score 4 out of 4. Again, see 4 options, but 5 descriptions means out of these, 1, which is very close, is not a part of any of the, is not linked with any of the terms. So that is why they have given it 4 marks. So now which one is not used? A value that is the highest or lowest value to be rejected. Now, if anyone didn't pay attention to the whole description, and he just thought a value that is the highest or lowest value to be accepted, a value that is highest or the highest or lowest value to be rejected. So rejected is not your extreme value. Remember, extreme values are also accepted. That is why the last option is the definition of extreme data type. Now, an algorithm has been written to test if an integer, that is input, is in the range 5 to 10 inclusive. Identify an example of suitable test data for each test data type. Now remember, an example, the concentration is towards the word and. Most important thing is this word. Now remember, if they have asked you to write down any one, an example means for abnormal any one example. So just an example is given, like 30, fine. Any other student can write maybe 3, that is also accepted as an abnormal value. So here, examples may vary. Even anyone can say like if anyone say FIVE. So what do you think is it? If anyone entered FIVE for the value for the test data, so which category will it fall into? Yes, that's wonderful, Ali. It's abnormal because of the data type. That's wonderful. Boundary, again, which you have discussed right now, we have discussed that boundary means 2 values. So that is why, since it is 5 to 10 inclusive, means 5 is also there and 10 is also there. It means before this, it's 4 that is here, and after this 10, it's 11 that is here. That is why you can see 10 and 11 is supposed to be written, or 4 and 5 is supposed to be written. So a student may write 4 and 5 as boundary, he's correct. And the student can write 10 and 11, he's also correct. But just remember, you have to write down any one. You don't have to mention both of them. A student may write 4 and 5, correct. And the student can write 10 and 11. But 4 and 10 is completely a wrong set. So be very cautious. Extreme, as the name implies, 5 to 10 inclusive. The word inclusive is supposed to be paid attention to, and it means 5 or 10 are the extreme values. No third value can be considered to be the extreme value. Any, like a student can write either 5 or 10, and that is the right answer. Normal, by the way, 6. Yes, any other option that comes to your mind? Is definitely not 5, correct? A student can write 7, and the student can write 8, another one can write 9. So these all are the examples. So, and I'm just for the purpose of making you understand I've written, but definitely you have to pay attention that it's an example means only one example. That's why this is the right option. You can write 6, correct? You can write 7 or 8 or 9. So these 4 are the examples of normal data type. Normal test data. Yes, sorry thank you, Ali, for correcting me. It's basically the test data. Okay, understood? Okay, any questions? So in this manner, you can easily score 4 out of 4. Now, question number 3. A linear search and a bubble sort are standard methods of solution. 50 numbers are already stored in the array values. Now, be very attentive that it says are already stored in the array values, and that is written as 1:50 means the lower bound is 1 and upper bound is 50. That's correct. Write an algorithm in pseudocode to input a number, my number, and use a linear search to test if that number is stored in the array. If the number is found in the array, the position in the array is output. If the number is not found in the array, not found is output. Now be attentive that it's basically an algorithm for linear search, and they have talked about that all data is already stored. So you don't need to talk about the input of all the data items into the array at all. What you need is just find that whether the input of the input of the number is existing in the array or not. If it's existing, then just tell the location where it's existing. So there's one mark for each point because it's a 4-mark question. So just see that how will you score marks. So don't get can say confused or don't get overwhelmed. See, it's so easy. If you have input a value outside the loop, you will score 1 mark. If you use the right loop, you will score another mark. You are checking the value against the contents. That's again going to give you the right, that is also going to give you the mark. But remember, checking alone is not enough. You need to take the action properly, the proper action also. And you have to go for the correct outputs. So these are the points that are definitely going to get you 4 out of 4. And just an example, I mean, another student can do it any other style also. So since it's an array, data stored already, so you can see here, input. Now let's do it slowly and gradually. I'm going to give you time, pay attention, and inshallah you'll be able to recall because we have done it, isn't it? Yes, any questions? Now you can see input my number. This is the variable that was given to you in the question. So you have to be cautious that you have to use this variable only. A Boolean variable found initialized with a 0 because we are starting. Okay. For index equals to 1 to 50, again the loop that you can see for and next. Okay. Now an error. Now again, I think we can do one that I have told you that writing variable with for is compulsory, but writing next with the writing variable with next is optional. So that is why it's left here so that you can recall and remember that this is not an error at all. Writing down variable with next is optional. But if you're writing it, it should be the same variable. That's perfectly okay. But if you are omitting, that's perfectly okay next. But variable is compulsory here. So we have started the loop 1 to 50. And here we're just checking if values is the name of my array of index equals to my number. Now assume that the first value was you entered in my number maybe 45. And the first value that was existing in your array, now this is going to be checked. My number is holding 45 and your first value is maybe 9. So is 9 equal to 45? First time it will be checked. If values of index means if values is the array name, its index location means first location is holding your required data. Yes. Yes. So it will be using this, it will be entering this if, and it will be moving on to the variable index value to the found variable. So see, found equals to 0, location is 0, location is 0. In the beginning, there's no location, there's no data that is stored anywhere else. But the moment you are able to find a value, then that found variable will be holding the index location. That's correct. Exactly. Normally, yes, correct, Ali, because normally we are using found as a Boolean variable, but here, since they have given us this requirement that they want only the location to be stored, that's why we are using the same. So found equals to index, if. And next we'll send it back. Now we are going to carry on this, but since this is not meeting the criteria, so then it will be the next value will be checked. So in this manner, it will keep on working 50 times. It will keep on checking the value of my number with the array locations, with the data and the array locations. And the moment it is able to find the data in the array with the values, it will be storing the value of index in the variable found. Isn't it easy? Okay, now that's wonderful. And it is one of the ways of doing it. And remember, that is why they have written the example. So if you want to use it with while, that is again a preferred one, that's perfectly okay. Go ahead. That's perfectly okay. There's no harm in doing it in that manner. But here, just an example is mentioned so that everyone can comprehend and work easily. If found equals to 0 means still, maybe found equals to 0 means not found. So just remember, we have to use exactly the same as was mentioned in my question. Else, output my number is found at found. So maybe it was found at the 10th location. So found variable is holding 10. So the message will be output. My number means 10. and maybe 45 is found at 10. So in this manner, you can have the linear search perform your desired action. See, so simple. Just remember the stages and you are able to get the task done. Easy? Okay, wonderful. Right in now, part B. Write an algorithm in pseudocode to sort the array values 150, 1.50 into ascending order using a bubble sort. Now, see, we have to arrange, sort, and we have to use the sorting algorithm to perform the activity and sort the data into ascending order. Now, this is the requirement. You can see 1 mark for each point, maximum 4. Use of inner and outer loop. Yes, this is what you need to remember. The use of inner loop and the outer loops. Whenever we are performing the sorting, we always use inner and outer loops. Correct use of loops, checking value adjacent values in the array, swap if required, correct stopping condition. Now here you can see this is just an example, and this is color coded to make you comprehend how to work. Now it is basically last equals to 50. Now you can see my variable is last, and this variable is holding 50 because this is your we are doing the work in reverse order. Repeat. I can see repeat is my outside loop and repeat until is handling the situation. Then inside we are just performing the activity with 4. Last equals to 50, repeat until. Swap equals to false. The variable swap is holding. The variable swap is holding the value false. For index equals to 1 to last minus 1. So here you can see the inner loop is with 4 and the outer loop is with repeat. 1 to last minus 1 means 1 to 49. That's correct. It means that the inner loop will work always 1 to last minus 1 times. So if the values are 50, the inner loop will work 49 times in the first go. Then second pass will be working for 48 times. Then in the third pass, it will be working for 47 times. In this manner, the number of iterations in the inner loop are going to decrease. That's wonderful. Now, the main thing that you need to see here is the use of if. Now, what is done? This is very simple. Just remember, and we have done a lot of questions in the recent papers. They have been talking about this sorting. They have given us flowchart questions, which we have already solved. I hope that you can recall. If values of index, what is index in the beginning? 1, is greater than values of index plus 1, means if the first location is holding a value which is bigger than the second location, means assume that first location is holding 45 and second location is holding maybe 19. I can see 45 is greater than 19. Condition true. So definitely they will be swapped. And how will this be done? The use of a temp variable. Remember, temp, t, something like this. The variables may vary, but this temp variable is going to hold the data temporarily. So temp is going to hold which one? Value of index, means this 45 will go here, first pass, first stage. Then this 19 will come here, means this is your second step. Remember the stages, they're very, very important. And then this 45 that was present here will be moved to this location. So in this manner, these 3 stages, remember temp will hold the value of the first value. Then the first location will hold the second value. The value will move from second location to the first one. And then this location, which has become empty, will be getting the data from temp. So just remember the stages: first stage, second stage, and third stage. Now, the moment you have done the swapping, then you have the swap variable to be equal to true, definitely, because you have done the swapping. That's why swap variable will hold the value of true, and endif will finish your if condition. Then next, again here you can see the variable is not mentioned with next, just to make you comprehend and remember, because in the recent paper I saw in the debugging question also, They mentioned next only, and some of the students had considered this to be an error, although it wasn't. So next we'll send it back to the for loop, and the next value will be checked. So again, it means right now they if assume that the swapping has been done. So now what had happened? Earlier it was 14 of 5, 5 and 9 and 19, and it will become 19 and 45. So now the comparison will be done between second and third. Then will be done between third and fourth. Then will be done between in this manner fifth and sixth. So it will continue to operate, and this will be called your inner loop. This is your inner loop. And then once this whole passes are over, then the value of the outer loop will change. But before that, as you can see, until not swapped or last equals to 1. You can see these are the two conditions. We are just checking. This is going to be the condition until not swapped or last equals to 1. And before that, you can see that last equals to last minus 1. The value of last is decreased by 1, the way I said. That now the value of last will be, in the beginning it was 50, and now it will become 49. So swap false once again, then index will be starting from 1. Since the value of last is now 49, so 49 minus 1 will be 48. So it means that now your second time your outer loop is working. So it will be working with the index value starting from 1 and going on till 48. In this manner, the value of last will keep on decreasing, and it will keep on comparing the values in the same manner. Just remember the sequence. Temp is going to hold the first value, the first index value. Then the second value will move to the first location, and then second location will be occupied by the temp variable. Easy? I think this color coding will definitely help you a lot. That's wonderful. Okay, may I move ahead? Any questions? Okay, until is used in the outer loop, and we are using for the inner iterations. Inner loop is with for, and outer loop is with repeat until. Understood? Easy? Yes, now it has become easy. Now, question number 4. Identify 3 data types used in programming. So it's programming. That's why a student can write integer, real, char, string, or boolean. Out of these 5 data types that we have been studying, you can mention any 3 and you will be able to score 3 out of 3. So isn't it easy? That's wonderful. Now, algorithm has been written in pseudocode to calculate the profit when an item is sold. Values for cost price and selling price are the input. The profit is calculated. The formula is given to you, selling price minus cost price, and output. Now, this is your pseudocode, as you can see. Fine? Now, identify the line numbers of 3 errors in the pseudocode and suggest corrections. There's 1 mark for each identified error, and there is definitely like that the same correction is to be made. And in this manner, you can actually score 3 out of 3 if you have identified the errors correctly. Now, let's start from here. How will we do it? Okay, just take your time and let's see, just 2 minutes. And then we are going to see that whether our answers are matching or not. Doing? I mean, it's easier. Yes, that's correct. Okay, now, see, just line number 1, repeat and until. Output, enter cost price. Now, it says input cost. Now, that's correct. Now, this is done. Output, enter selling price. Output sell. How does it how is it possible? It should be input. So it means that you have identified the error in line number 5. If cost is not equal to 0 or sell is not equal to 0, then profit equals to sell minus cost. Output profit is profit. Next. Now, what have you identified? Yes. Next is wrong. Yes, exactly. There's no need of next here. Since if is used, that is why it should be end if. So what about the third error? So error is in line number 5 and line number 10. Where is the third error? Yes. If cost is not equal to 0 and cell is not equal to 0. So this is what basically is that it should be and. So this is line number 6 also is an error. So this is how we have identified the 3 errors correctly. Now let's move on to the code. What does my code say? Clear? Line number 5, line number 6, and line number 10. Line number 5, input. Line number 6, instead of or should be and. Line number 10, instead of next, it should be end if. Easy? Yes, this is one is an easier question. That's correct. The algorithm needs to be improved with the range check. Write pseudocode to reject the input of values less than 0 for variables cost and sell. Now remember, we have been talking about that whenever we talk about our validation, what comes to our mind is, like you can see here, the validation is range check. And here it says to reject the values less than 0. Less than 0 means less than 0 are to be rejected for the variables cost and sell. Repeat. Now, just for the purpose of making comprehend, I've done it with both repeat and a while. Repeat. Output enter cost price, input cost. Until cost greater than or equals to 0. Till the time the value of cost variable does not become equal to or greater than 0. So the moment it's less than 0, the input will be taken once again. So if a person has entered 5, so definitely in the first row, 5 is greater than 0 or equal to 0. Condition is true. So definitely it won't go. Remember, repeat works when condition is false. And on the contrary, since the condition is false, see, it will move back when the condition is false. So if I entered in cost 5, 5 greater than or equals to 0, so condition is true. So definitely it won't go back. And that is my requirement. Repeat until cell greater than 0 or equal to 0. So we have just trapped this with the help of repeat. That's perfectly okay. Now, another student is not very happy with repeat. He wants to do the work with maybe, he wants to do the work with while. Now, again, remember just the same principle. While and end while. And you can see for yourself that the input is taken twice. Before entering, the input is taken while cost less than 0. When the value of cost is less than 0, it will enter. So if I take the same, if I wrote the same, the same code, and my input was maybe 5, 5 less than 0, condition is false. So will it enter? Yes, it will not enter. So definitely it will move out, and that is the requirement. We don't want the input to be taken again. So that is why 5 less than 0 condition is false, so it won't enter. So remember, this enters only when the condition is true. Okay? This comes when the condition is false and while works when the condition is true. So since 5 less than 0 condition is false, that's why it won't take the input again and will move out of the loop and carry on with the other task. Same is applicable here. We have applied, if you have understood anyone, like I suggest you, like if you know both, that's excellent. But if you are comfortable with repeat, just concentrate with repeat only, but be confident about repeat. So I hope that we all are clear about repeat and until. So this is what we need to see: the use of until and the condition, and end while and condition is before. So any questions? The same is done for the while loop and seller also. Are you clear? Any issues? So anyone, if anyone is any student is okay with repeat, so you will do with the work with repeat. And if the person is okay with while, so you'll work with while. Understood? Not with both, definitely not. Okay. Describe two other validation checks that should be included in this algorithm. Now remember two other. If a student mentions the same range check, that's something which is wrong. So be cautious, says two other. So that is why 1 mark for identifying validation check and 1 mark for accompanying description, maximum 4. Check 1, presence check. To check that values have been input, like they have been input, nothing is left blank. Type check, to check for numerical values. Definitely, we have to go with the numerical values. We cannot go with text data. We cannot go with string data. We cannot go with char data. It has to be numerical values. That's the type check. So you mentioned the correct check. You mentioned the correct description. You're going to score 4 marks. Easy. But for that, you need to have very good understanding of the basic concepts. Again, see, so simple questions are coming to now. Describe 2 types of iteration that a programmer can use whilst writing a program. Now see, iteration, what comes to your mind? Exactly, we have been talking about in the class all the time. Count control loop, precondition loop, post-condition loop. Like this is what you will write. You will not mention the for to next and etc. etc. You mention the types, and the types are count control loop. Now see, they are asking about 2. So here they are mentioned just to make you comprehend, so that you will, this is just for practice. So you need to know the 2 types means it can be count control loop, it can be precondition loop, it can be post-condition loop. So these are a student may write count control loop and post-condition. Another student can write post-condition and precondition. A student can write in any order. So just remember, you need to know and write down with correct descriptions any of the 2 iterations that you know. Count control loop is applied when you know the number of iterations is a set number of values. When you know that how many times you need to do the task. This is just an example, but you can mention it in your own words that what you want. Iterations is predetermined, you know the set number of values, whatever you want to say, that will be giving you 1 and 1. Precondition, check condition at start of loop, and loop may not iterate even once. That's what we have just seen here in the example, earlier example, also with while, that when I entered 5 as the cost value, it never entered even once. And that is what is precondition loop. Okay, I'm just discussing these terms right now so that you can recall. As if you're doing it just for the purpose of revision, but for 2 next is basically my count control loop. Precondition loop is while do and while, and post-condition loop is repeat until. As you saw, in repeat until, the condition was coming later. And in precondition, the condition was coming earlier. That's why it is given the name precondition. So here you can see post-condition, just condition at the end of loop. Loop always iterates at least once. Remember, this is what you need to see. The post-condition loop works at least once. It is going to perform the activity at least once. So you mention and you are able to score. Easy? Okay, that's wonderful. Question number 7. Consider the logic expression x equals to a, XOR b, and not b and c. Draw a logic circuit for this logic expression. Each logic gate must have a maximum of 2 inputs. Do not simplify this logic expression. 1 mark for each correct gate with the correct inputs as shown. Now just see how will I solve it. First is A XOR B, A XOR B. Fine. Then send to AND. This is my AND gate. Then you can see not B and C. So first of all, from here we have drawn the NOT gate, and then it is AND gate, and it is getting 1 more input coming from C, and the result is going to this last AND gate. And in this manner, we finish our complete circuit, and we are able to score 4 out of 4. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. You have drawn the correct gates, you are able to score. And complete the truth table for the given logic expression. X equals to A XOR B and not B and C. The same, I have just copied it. And we have applied it in this manner. First for its A XOR B, then not B, then not B and C, and lastly it's A XOR B and not B and C. So let's start from here. A XOR B. 0, XOR 0, 0. Again, remember, XOR means same inputs, the result is a 0. Opposite inputs, the result is a 1. So you can see 0, XOR 0, 0, 0, XOR 0, 0. Opposites 1, opposites 1, opposites 1, opposites 1. Then we have same 0, same 0. So this is my XOR gate. Okay? In this not B, we are just reversing the input of B. 0, 0 became a 1, 1, 1 became a 0, 0, 0 became 1, and 1, 1 became 0. In this manner, we got not B. Then not B and C. Now, this is not B, and we have performed the AND operation with C. And what we obtained was 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, and then 0, 0. Any issues till now? And lastly, we are going to perform the AND operation on A or B and not B and C. So you can see 0 and 0, 0. Again, the same AND operation on the 2. And you can see for yourself that since it is AND, that's why 0 and 1, a 0, 1 and 0, a 0, 1 and 0, a 0, 1 and 0, a 0, 1 and 1 is a 1, 0 and 0, a 0, and 0 and 0 is a 0. So if you have done the work with caution in the first row, you will definitely score full marks. So actually you are able to score 8 marks out of 75 in a very short span of time. Isn't it easy? Now, the flowchart represents an algorithm to find the average size of groups of visitors to an attraction. So now this is my flowchart. Start. I can see we are going to work on just different things very quickly. Just concentrate. Will you be able to solve? Is it easy? Yes, easy. Let's start. After that, we have number groups equals to 0, total equals to 0, which you can see here. Number group 0 and total 0. These are the two variables initialized with the 0. Input group size. This is going to be my input, 7. And this will be stored in the variable group size, as you can see. Is group size equals to 0? Yes. Average is calculated? No. Number groups equals to number groups plus 1. So you can see the group size is not 0. That's why it will result in adding number groups, in adding 1 to number groups, it becomes 0 plus 1 becomes 1. Total equals to total plus group size means the current value of total is 0. The value of group size is 7, so it becomes 0 plus 7 equals to 7. Now, which operation is being done here? Just a sort of a revision. Number groups equals to number groups plus 1 plus 1. What strikes your mind? What is it? That's wonderful. It's counting. Total equals to total plus group size. Which operation? Which standard method of operation? That's wonderful. It is your totaling. So in this one, you can see totaling, counting, these are being handled repeatedly in your pseudocode, in your flowcharts. This is what you need to be very much well versed with. Now moving back to this is your loop. It moves back. Input of the next value is going to be stored into the variable group size. Now group size will now hold 10. Again, the same checks performed, not equal to 0. It moves down. Number groups equals to number groups plus 1. You can see number groups will become 2. 1 plus 1 becomes 2. The value of total will be 7 plus 10. You can see 7 plus 10 will be holding the 17. So this is how you got your 17 value. Okay. Then moving up, the third input taken. Now this is what I suggest you. Either circle or tick or underline or whatever, so that you're not using the same variable. Now group size will now hold 2. It's not equal to 0 still. Again, the same function performed. The value of number groups is increased by 1, becomes 3. The value is added to the total. 17 plus 2 will be your 19, and the value will be 19 here. Then moving up, the next input is 8. So 8 moves here. The value of number groups equals to number groups plus 1. Because the value of group size is not 0, that's why it moves here. Number groups push number groups plus 1, it will become 4. Total will be increased by, again, the same value, like it will be 19, plus it will be 27. And then it will move up, and then the value of the next input is taken, 9. So 9 is now input. So you can see 8, 3, 9. Okay, now I'm 3 have messed out. I'm sorry. 3 is missed out. The value of group size, number groups will increase by 1. 27 plus 3 is 30. And then the next value is 9. Input here, you can see 9 again is not equal to 0. The number of groups will be increased by 1. It becomes 6. And then you have the total increased again. It will be 30 plus 9 will be 39. And then you can see the next input is taken. So the next input is a 0. Now you can see, since input is a 0 and the condition is now met, so it will move here and it will calculate average. Here div, by the way, why they have not given you the hint now, because you already know now the functions like div and mod and random and what else? Round, yes, exactly. So that is why now we are not expecting that you will be given the hint that what is div doing, because you already know the div function. What does it do, by the way? I mean, a question has come in the paper that asks you that you have to explain the functions also. So be prepared. This question can also come in your paper. So if the question comes, you need to know the definition of the functions. So div function, what is it doing? It tells you the integer division. Now, what does it say? It says that you have to do what? You have to now take the total and you have to take the number groups. These are the two values. Number groups is 6 and total is 39. And they say what you need to do is div total number groups means 39 is going to be inside and 6 will be outside. And then 6 is 36 and remainder is 3. So my concern is this 6. It will be the result of div and will be stored in the variable average. So that is what you can see here. The average will now be holding 6 and 0 input. Definitely that results in moving it here. Output average group size and then average value will be printed. In this manner, since you have done the whole computation, be clear. Div function, it tells you the quotient, or you can say the integer division, and that will be output as required here. So are you clear? You need your time? Understood? Yes. So you can see average group size, as is mentioned, average group size exactly in the same manner. Average group size, A capital, G and S are small, and then the value of average is found to be 6, and this will be coming in as a message. Understood? You maybe move ahead? Yes or no? Okay, that's wonderful. Average group size is 6. You can see there's 1 mark, the 4-mark question, 1 mark for each column, total average and output, 1 mark for columns, number groups, and group size. So if you've handled total, the average properly, it means total 1 mark, average 1 mark, and output another mark. And number groups and group size are handled as 1 mark. So if you have actually done everything properly, then definitely you will be able to score 4 out of 4. Okay, what about 6? I mean, you can see 6 isn't used anywhere. This 6 is for average. So why isn't 6 taken? That's wonderful. Exactly. This is what they have given you as something to know that whether the students understand that the moment you say is group size equal to 0, it is yes. So definitely the next value is never input. So they have given they have just given it to you to ascertain that whether you really know how to work with this data properly or not. So be clear, 6 will never be input because the value when the group size equals to 0. So the program is after calculating the average and displaying the average is stopping. So that is why the 6 is not used at all. Okay. Now, question number 9. A storage unit rental company wants a storage unit rental company wants to set up a new database table for the storage units that can be rented. The table is called storage units and needs to store these details. And what are the details? Size meters, which is size in square meters, position, which is first, second, or third floor, hoist, whether there is a hoist available for the transfer of items, price month, the price in dollars for a month's rental, storage ID, the code to identify each storage unit, for example, S123. Now you can see code to identify each storage unit. Give the name of the field that would be used for the primary key. Definitely out of these, this is the most appropriate choice. Although it is written in the end, still it is the most appropriate choice. You can see storage ID is the right choice. State the reason for choosing this field for the primary key. It's a unique number. None of the values are ever duplicated, and that is what was mentioned here, the code to identify each storage unit. And that is why this is the most, the best option. And you have written it accurately, you are able to store. Complete the table to identify the most appropriate data type for these fields in the table storage units. Now, this is your table, and the fields are size meters, as the name implies, size in square meters. So square meters means it's a real value. Now, position, as you can see, they have given the hint first, second, or third floor. So all the three options, or I should say all the three options, because these are something similar. If a student thought that I am going to store the first initial like F, S, or T, it means, if this was in his mind, then he can choose character. That's perfectly okay. And the student can say, I want to store the whole word FIRST, SPCOND, or THIRD. In that case, he will choose a text field, a text data type, or alphanumeric. That's perfectly okay. Another student who thinks that he should be storing it as 1, 2, or 3 integers, he can say that I have stored it as integer data type. So since they have given this as an open-ended things, that is why a student can choose character if he thinks only one single letter is to be stored, or he can choose integer if he wants to store 1, 2, 3, or he can choose text, or in other words, alphanumeric, in case he wants to store the entire string value. So just remember, out of these, any one is acceptable for this situation, because there's no data given. That's why. That's okay. Wonderful, Ellie. Since no data is given, that's why we are open. When there's no the data values present in my table, no extracted part of the database is present. So now I'm open. I can choose any. And the third one, hoist. Now, since hoist is saying whether there is a hoist available for the transfer of items. So if a student thinks it is able to store yes or no, then he will go for Boolean. Or any other person can say available or not available. Again, a very open-ended one. So that is why if a student has thought that it's going to store available or not available as the data, then he can choose text or alphanumeric. That's perfectly okay. And storage ID. Definitely, since this is given to you as S1 to 3 means a combination of one letter and 3 digits. That's why it's alphanumeric. Only, nothing else but text or alphanumeric. Easy? Now, moving further, complete this SQL statement to display only the storage code, price and size in square meters of all the storage units where there is a hoist available. Now, what is the option available? Select. What is to be selected? Storage code means storage ID. Now, that is where they are going to test. You can see here they mentioned what? Here they mentioned the storage code just to trick us. And the data is using the field. So storage ID. Select storage ID. Now price. Again, price. You can see price is price month. So that is why you'll have to move back to your table and you'll have to see price month is the variables. That's why it will be price month. And then you move down and you write down price month. And then you say, again, the third one is your square size in square meters. It means then this is going to be your, this one. Now price month, exactly in the same manner. No space in between. Size meters is size meters. This is what you have chosen. So size meters from table name is storage units, where now this one's written and these were the blanks. But it may come in the paper that they are asking us to write the whole select query also. So be cautious. You have to know the whole structure so that you are able to score. Where voice equals to true or voice equals to yes, that's perfectly okay. And do not forget to end with a semicolon. So in this manner, you can easily score your marks. It's a 4-mark question. If you've written the things properly, you are definitely going to score. Easy? Okay. Question number 10. A programmer has written a program that will be maintained by another programmer. Explain how the program can be written to make sure it can be easily maintained by the other programmer. 1 mark for each point, maximum 6, since it's a 6-mark question. You can use comments. I mean, that's again, now just think, if, for example, you are the programmer, you've designed a program and you maybe in future are going to hand over the program to some other person. So what should be present in your program to make it a to make it a good program, so that it will become very easy for the next person to work on. So definitely now just go through these points. Is my program involving these points? Using comments to explain the purpose of each section of code, for example, the logic of the syntax. Now, this is your fun point. You have talked about the comments and you've explained it. Use meaningful identifier names to clearly identify the purpose of variables, constants, arrays, procedures, etc. And this can also be one of the reasons that you may go for meaningful names, meaningful identifiers. If you are going to use the identifiers, like not ABC, instead of that, the way you have seen it right now, the questions of database or whichever thing that we are doing, they're using meaningful names, meaningful identifiers. So they are indicating the data, the kind of data that is coming in, the kind of data that's stored inside. That is also one of the features of a good program, which clearly identifies the purpose of variables, constants, arrays, and procedures. Use procedures and functions. And why? So that it just to avoid repeated code, because the moment you are writing down the code using procedures and functions, then your program becomes more, I can say, user-friendly, I should say. It is meant to simplify the logic also. And do not forget to use indentations and white spaces to make the program readable the way you have been observing. We have been doing it repeatedly just to make our work a little easier. So just remember, these are the points that you need to follow to make your program a well-maintained one. So if you have mentioned any any 3 points properly and you've explained them, then definitely you are able to score. You have taken any one point and you've explained it properly. That, for example, comments. Why do you need comments? Similarly, why meaningful identifiers are helpful. Similarly, the use of procedures and functions. Why are they beneficial? Using indentation. If you've explained it in your own words properly, then definitely you are able to score 6 out of 6. Easy? Okay, that's wonderful. Any questions to anyone before we finish today's class? Jazakallah khairan kaseera for being a part of the learning journey. If you have liked my video, please subscribe the channel, share with your friends and family so that they all are going to benefit from it. And best of luck for your papers. My prayers are with you. Allah Hafiz.